Right, we thought we would give you a brief teaser of the work that we've done so far on the CE5 virtual reality game. The working title of what you're seeing now, this is called Jorbo and the Star Kids, a CE5 adventure. What you're seeing now is what is probably going to be the opening few levels of the game. And in our game, obviously, we've said that this is sort of like trying to strike a tone a little bit like the Goonies or Skeleton Crew or E.T. And ultimately, you're trying to rescue a captured extraterrestrial or NHI from a deep underground military base. And this extraterrestrial is called Jorbo, and he's been captured by a psionics P3 team. So at the start of the game, Jorbo has been observing the Earth and seen and observed some very talented human children. And he's decided that he wants to make contact with these human children, but then he gets captured when his ship gets shot down. So he brings you in, he invites all the children in to tell them about his plight, try and make friends with them, and then say that he needs rescued. And he brings you into a sort of his virtual recreation of his home world. This is his home world, and on his home world, he gets the kids' consciousness and he trains them all and gives them much more advanced psionic or psychic capabilities. So this is just one of the his alien homeworld is going to be used as a series of training levels for you to acquire the abilities that you need throughout the main game. So this is one of the parts of the alien of Jorbo's homeworld. As you can see, it's looking really good. Weather effects are working. That demonstration was just to show you the environment. That is not including gameplay mechanics yet. In terms of gameplay mechanics, if you know anything about software development, basically when you get a game into alpha, you're then trying to lock the content so you can get the game to beta, and then you're just testing it and then you can release it. We're nowhere anywhere near that yet. Okay, Charlie, do you want to talk about now what this world is and what you want to do, to train players in this particular part of the world?
So yeah, this part of the alien world, just this part, it's going to be for training like stealth modes. So there's lots of big objects that will be able to hide behind, and there'll be like special areas where. So for example, if I walk over here, oh yeah, let me load it up in big screen so you guys can see it a bit better. So, for example, there's quite big plants over here that you'll be able to hide behind, and we've got this really, really amazing enemy AI system that we'll be able to use. So you'll be able to hide behind a couple of these plants and different objects, and potentially even get in the water to hide as well.
And the enemy AI can hear
Yeah,
you.
it can
It
hear
can
you,
smell you. It can
smell
hear you.
you.
It can
Yeah,
smell you. And can
there'll
see
also
you.
be like distractions that you can add. So, for example, like you can whistle, a bit like in some other games. So yeah, I'm gonna pass you right back to James.
So yeah, so that's just a brief teaser of the environments that we are using now for Jorbo's homeworld. We're now gonna go in and show you what we've pulled together for sort of the overland, the military base, which sits on top of the deep underground military base. And we'll show you a brief, if we can get it working, we'll show you a brief teaser of the deep underground military base as well. So elements of the game, as I said, it's all going to be in VR. I mean, our game design is really very ambitious, as is always the way with game development. You start off with a very ambitious plan, and then the closer you get to releasing it, you start to scale it back because it might not be feasible to put all those features into it. So the game's going to have elements of stealth. It's going to have elements where you're going to have to use your psychic abilities with the other group of children to get into the base. So as I said, what we're going to show you now is as I said, the overland military base, which sits on top of the the DUMB, or the Deep Underground Military Base, where Jorbo is being held captive. So, forgive the delay. These assets always take a long time to load in, don't they?
5 gigabytes each.
So yeah, so we've already encountered a number of technical challenges with developing this game. First and foremost, trying to strike the right balance, because obviously, if you're doing a project like this, then you have to be considering launching on both PC and Oculus. We've already got experience of launching games on, well, we've on in terms of VR, we've already launched one game on VR purely for Oculus. But the reason that we're going to launch on PCs, obviously, increase the audience size. But then when you start to mess around with things like Sony VR and other platforms, there are a long list of boxes that have got to be ticked, and sort of regulatory requirements, that it's just on the whole easier to develop for Oculus and for PC. So initially, what we'll do is we'll probably do a Kickstarter. I would say probably in about a month, 2 months time, to raise a bigger budget so that we can finish the game technically. So some of the technical challenges we face at the moment include things like trying to reduce poly sizes for some of the models that we're using, and a few other bits and pieces. We're working with a variety of different software systems to pull this together. So Unity being the first one, Blender, Quixel Mixer, and a number of others. But it's really it's so far it's come together fairly quickly. So so that the gameplay. So this is going to be blow up full screen, Charlie.
Yeah.
So this is going to show you. Initially give you some flavour of some of the gameplay. So we've got, for example, so if you can walk around this map, Charlie. Okay, it's just yeah. So this is going to be, as I said, overland military base. You're going to sneak around. You'll have a series of tasks around this base with your friends. Your friends will all have a variety of different psionic abilities. And you'll have to work together as a team to try and get through this overland base and then get underground to the actual base in question. So here.
Just need to move the hands bit.
Oh, okay.
Drag these up. Okay.
So
right
this
here.
is.
As you guys can see right here, we're using assets for VR interaction. For example, we've got a working backpack system. So, for example, any items that you find along the way. So, for example, any powerful objects or anything you'll be able to store, and it will save into our network manager. We've also got, so these are just tests. Obviously, there won't be as much violence as you expect in the game. But these are just tests for like picking up objects and weight for objects. So, for example, I think it might be. Let me just go see so I can grab this object properly. So as you can see, this object has got weight to it. So this is just like physics testing.
So we're going for real world.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a real world
Physics.
Yeah.
So yeah, so some of the psychic abilities that the children will have in the gaming will include things like telekinesis, telepathy, I think it's biogenesis. We've got a series of about 5 or 6 that you'll get trained at the start of the game, and then you'll have to use those throughout the game. Ideally, what it'll be a group experience, so you'll go in with a group of your friends to play. There'll be both action sequences, stealth sequences. This part here. I mean, really, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't hugely influenced by Half-Life and Half-Life 2. Those of you that know your games will know those are hugely influential in pop culture, video game history. And the whole base infiltration and the sinister nature and that sort of feel about it is hopefully something we'll recreate here. Now, as you can see, there's a mountain in the distance. Now, initially, I think we were thinking about, okay, well, you have to finish the game. You have to go and do a successful CE5 at the top of Mount Shasta. But actually, recreating Mount Shasta is really quite difficult. So we've opted to go for putting our mountain next to the military base. And at the end of the game, which will be an action sequence. You have to scale this without getting shot by any of the nasty military intelligence agency people, and get Jorbo up here with all of you, and then you have to do a CE5 to try and get Jorbo's friends and family to come and pick him up. So that's sort of towards the end of the game. As I say, this is the overground military base. So as you can see, we've got some helicopters here. I think we've got a couple of tanks, a couple of jeeps, and you'll have to sneak around this. There'll be a series of objectives overland that you have to achieve to be able to get into the military base. So once you've achieved those objectives with the other kids, and they'll be using all of your different psychic abilities and working together as a team, you'll then be able to get access to the underground military base. So we will see now if it's not. Is the problem is developing this? You need a really powerful PC, and fortunately we are in possession of one. So
I think there's
so this section, yeah. So at the moment we've got a couple of design choices to make in terms of whether or not we're going to have a series once you get through this military base, whether or not there's a series of tunnels and sewers, very much like as I just said, what happens in Half-Life. If for those of you who play Half-Life or Half-Life 2, will remember that it was very, very atmospheric. Section of the game, and sort of so it's got to feel the whole game has got to feel like a release, and that there's a threat involved to you, and then you overcome that threat as part of the game, and then you rescue Jorbo. So at the moment we're loading up. We're going to have a look at the sewers, and then we're going to maybe have a look at the work that we've done so far on the deep underground military base, but that is. I'm not sure if we're really ready to show that yet, but it at least gives you an indication on how far we've come in a short space of time.
I think it's about 3-4 days, something like that.
Yeah, it really is about that. So it's really Unity as a system, as a platform to develop on is really it's really outstanding. To be honest, there's a huge community around it. And it's really easy to sort of train yourself on this and then get access to Discord groups full of developers that will more than happily answer any technical questions you've got. I do think that further down the line we're going to need to do a Kickstarter because both Charlie and I's C# skills only go so far, and I think we're going to need programming support to finish it off in the end. But it's already shaping up to look like it could be something really special. And as I said, it's at the end of the day, although everyone in the community knows what we're all trying to achieve within the human initiated contact movement, or CE5, whatever you call it. The reality is this is a piece of entertainment, so it's going to take you on an emotional journey that's going to have a great big emotional release and a really uplifting thing at the end. So that's the plan. But I think we're going to be here all night unpacking this one, aren't we?
Yeah, probably.
So what do you want to achieve out of this, Charlie? What do you think this game should be? You're quite at the moment. A lot of the kids playing VR games at the moment are very influenced by sort of Gorilla Tag, Animal Company, and the whole thing with VR is can you achieve a sort of degree of movement that you really can't do in real life, and that makes it really fun, doesn't it? But then when you throw in additional gameplay elements like being able to mine certain things, and then you get currency from it. I mean, it's just, I think that the elements of the game that you're enjoying is stuff that isn't violent, really, isn't it? It's all
more like
swinging from tree to tree and
entertainment. So like mining, for example, that's quite fun within the new Animal Company update. Multiple different for example, how do I entertainment? So for example, running from the monsters, or the movement systems that are actually fun. And so we're trying to make the movement as realistic as possible, but also as fun as possible.
A fantastical element to it.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think it's going to take another thing. I think we're better. But anyway, we've given you a teaser now of two of the environments and a little showing you elements of the gameplay and stuff. So this is going to come together quite quickly. So we are going to need help and support. But I will run a Kickstarter, a crowdfund, probably about 2 months time, do you think?
Maybe,
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But we've come a long way in a short space of time. So, yeah. So the first ever CE5 virtual reality game is well on its way. So yeah, watch this space for updates.